Imagine living in a country so small that you could drive across it in less than an hour. A country with almost no natural resources. No oil, no gold, no vast farmland, no massive rivers, and yet, somehow, it has become one of the richest nations on earth. Welcome to Singapore. Today, Singapore is home to more than 6 million people and one of the world's strongest economies. Its skyline is filled with futuristic skyscrapers, luxury hotels, and some of the busiest financial institutions on the planet. Every year, millions of tourists visit this tiny island, while thousands of multinational companies choose it as their Asian headquarters. But here's the real mystery. How did a small tropical island with almost nothing become a global economic powerhouse? Just 60 years ago, Singapore looked completely different. When it gained independence in 1965, many experts believed the country had little chance of success. It had almost no natural resources, high unemployment, limited fresh water, and serious housing problems. Surrounded by much larger neighbors, Singapore faced an uncertain future. Most countries build their wealth using oil, minerals, or vast amounts of land. Singapore had none of those advantages. Instead, it had only one valuable resource: its people. The country's leaders realized that if they couldn't rely on natural resources, they would have to invest in education, discipline, innovation, and long-term planning. Every decision was made with one goal in mind: turning Singapore into the perfect place to live, work, and do business. Over the following decades, that vision completely transformed the nation. Today, Singapore is known for its spotless streets, world-class airport, efficient public transportation, and one of the busiest ports on earth. It consistently ranks among the safest countries in the world and attracts billions of dollars in foreign investment every year. But none of this happened by accident. Behind Singapore's incredible success lies a series of bold decisions that changed the country's future forever. So, how did a tiny island with almost nothing become one of the wealthiest places on earth? The answer is far more fascinating than you might imagine. Singapore's transformation began with one simple idea: location is power. If you look at a world map, you'll notice that Singapore sits at one of the most important shipping routes on Earth. Thousands of ships travel through the Strait of Malacca every year, carrying everything from oil and electronics to food and luxury goods. Instead of trying to compete in industries where other countries already had an advantage, Singapore decided to become the world's gateway for global trade. The government invested billions of dollars into building one of the most advanced ports ever created. Today, the Port of Singapore handles tens of millions of shipping containers every year and connects businesses to more than 600 ports across the globe. Every hour, massive cargo ships arrive and depart, making Singapore one of the busiest maritime hubs in history. But trade alone wasn't enough. Singapore wanted the world's biggest companies to stay, not just pass through. So the government created one of the most business-friendly environments anywhere in the world. Corporate taxes were kept competitive. Starting a business became fast and simple. Corruption was aggressively fought, with strict laws and transparent institutions that built international trust. For global companies, Singapore became a place where investments felt safe. Soon, companies like Google, Apple, Microsoft, Meta, Amazon, and many of the world's largest banks established major regional offices there. This created thousands of high-paying jobs and attracted talented professionals from across the world. At the same time, Singapore invested heavily in education. Schools focused on science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, preparing future generations for a modern economy instead of relying on low-skilled industries. Universities partnered with global businesses, ensuring graduates had the skills employers actually needed. As a result, Singapore didn't just build a strong economy. It built a highly skilled workforce capable of driving innovation for decades. Within just a few generations, the country had transformed from a struggling island into one of the world's most important financial and business centers. And yet, this was only part of the story. Because perhaps Singapore's greatest achievement wasn't building skyscrapers or attracting multinational companies. It was creating a system that kept the country clean, efficient, and remarkably safe, qualities that continue to attract businesses, investors, and millions of visitors every single year. One of the biggest reasons behind Singapore's success isn't something you can easily see. It's the way the country is managed. While many nations struggle with slow bureaucracy and corruption, Singapore chose a very different path. From the very beginning, the government introduced strict anti-corruption laws and enforced them equally, regardless of a person's status or wealth. Government officials are paid competitive salaries, but they are also held to extremely high standards. Breaking the law can end a career instantly, creating a system where honesty became more valuable than personal gain. This reputation for transparency quickly caught the attention of international investors. When global companies looked for a place to build factories, open regional headquarters, or manage billions of dollars in investments, Singapore stood out as one of the safest choices in the world. But trust wasn't the only thing Singapore invested in. The country also focused on building an incredible quality of life. Modern public housing allowed millions of families to own affordable homes. The MRT transportation system connected nearly every part of the island with speed and efficiency. Healthcare became one of the best in Asia. The streets remained exceptionally clean, and strict laws helped keep crime among the lowest in the world. These improvements created something every major business wants: stability. Employees wanted to live there. Companies wanted to invest there. Entrepreneurs wanted to build there. As more businesses arrived, the economy became even stronger. Today, Singapore is one of the world's leading financial centers, standing alongside cities like New York, London, and Hong Kong. Hundreds of international banks, investment firms, and technology companies manage billions of dollars from offices located on this tiny island. At the same time, Singapore never stopped thinking about the future. The government continues investing in artificial intelligence, biotechnology, green energy, smart city technology, and advanced manufacturing. Instead of relying on past success, the country constantly prepares for the next generation of industries. This ability to adapt may be Singapore's greatest competitive advantage. Because in a rapidly changing world, the countries that survive aren't always the biggest. They're the ones that evolve the fastest. And that's exactly what Singapore has mastered. Today, Singapore is often described as a miracle. A nation with no oil, no gold, very little land, and almost no natural resources. Yet its economy is worth hundreds of billions of dollars, and its passport is one of the most powerful in the world. So, what is Singapore's biggest secret? The answer isn't luck, it's long-term thinking. For decades, Singapore focused on making decisions that wouldn't just benefit the next election, but the next generation. Instead of spending beyond its means, the country invested in infrastructure, education, technology, and innovation. Instead of relying on one industry, it built a diversified economy based on finance, trade, manufacturing, tourism, biotechnology, and digital technology. Even as the world changes, Singapore continues to reinvent itself. Projects like Tuas Mega Port, one of the largest automated ports ever built, and Changi Airport's constant expansion show that the country is always preparing for the future rather than reacting to it. But Singapore also faces serious challenges. Its population is aging, the cost of living continues to rise. Land is extremely limited, and competition from other global financial hubs is becoming stronger every year. To stay ahead, Singapore must continue doing what it has always done best: adapt. Because in today's world, standing still means falling behind. Perhaps that's the greatest lesson Singapore teaches us. A country's future isn't determined by the resources beneath its ground. It's determined by the vision of the people who lead it and the determination of the people who build it. From a struggling island in 1965 to one of the world's richest and most advanced nations, Singapore has shown that size doesn't define success. Ideas do, discipline does, leadership does, and the willingness to plan not just for tomorrow, but for decades ahead. Singapore didn't become rich because it was lucky. It became rich because it made thousands of smart decisions, year after year. And that may be the most valuable resource any nation can ever have. Thanks for watching Hermosa Explained. If you enjoyed this documentary, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for more stories about the world's most fascinating places, mega projects, businesses, and luxury. See you in the next episode.